Hello everyone, welcome back to the Stereotypically Japan podcast. My name is Michael, and every week I'd like to talk about my experiences and life in Japan, focused around some common stereotypes that many people may have about Japan. And this week, I want to talk about just how safe Japan is. So, the topic of safety is a very interesting one. It really depends on who you ask. If I ask Japanese people, it's surprising how many people say it's actually not that safe, or it's changing, or it used to be safe, that kind of thing. If I ask non-Japanese, it's unanimously considered one of the safest countries in the world. What is true? From my experience, it's the latter, and I can't say I have ever experienced anything other than that. Definitely nothing that would make me feel unsafe. So, why is that? Well, from a Japanese perspective, it definitely seems a bit more unsafe compared to before. There are more and more cases of violent crimes these days, especially murder. Mind you, by more and more, I mean I can count the number of murders in Japan that made it on the news on one hand, so it's not crazy or anything. But that is still more than in the past, so from a Japanese perspective, it is more than before. Since I've been in Japan, there have been two really notable crimes: the Akihabara killing in 2008 and the Kyoto Animation arson killings in 2019. Both of those were caused by people with psychological issues and could have possibly been addressed if Japan was more open about mental health. But that is a whole other subject that deserves a deeper discussion. Besides that, though, there have been a couple of cases that made the news of people committing random acts of violence. But other than that, we usually just get bear attacks or monkeys running wild in some rural town in the middle of Tokushima or something. The reason I'm mostly talking about violent acts is because those are the ones that really stand out here. But the one crime that desperately needs much more attention is stalking. That is something that I think anyone here can agree on, foreign or not. The police just don't and can't do much about it, and that is what actually leads to a lot of the violent crimes to begin with. Pretty recently, there was a case about a man who went all the way to Kobe just to kill someone. He looked for someone his type, just a complete stranger, and stalked her for a couple of days and eventually killed her. That is one of the worst things, just losing your life because some random neckbeard decides he wants to kill someone. Japan still has capital punishment, and whether you think that is right or wrong, the government believes that while there are still such heinous crimes like that, Japan can't get rid of it, and it should be reserved for cases like this. There has been talk recently to change the laws to enable police officers to actually confront stalkers more directly. If you didn't know, the police legally can't just approach a stalker and tell them to stop or do anything like that, so if you do go to the police with such an issue, the most they can do is just take a police report and have a record of it. It is so stupid that they need to actually wait for something more serious to happen before they can actually take any action. So hopefully with this recent case, it can force the government's hand to enable the police to step in and possibly stop stalking before it gets too far. There will always be crazy people out there, but if there is some way to control the crazy a bit more, I'm all for it. Besides stalking and murder, which hopefully no one ever has to deal with, there is one more thing that I want everyone to be aware of, and that is all of the hentai or perverts out there. I'm sure you have heard or read the news about some guy taking pictures of girls' underwear or some school teacher doing the same thing. It's disgusting. That reminds me of this one time where I actually saw it happen. It's surprising how often it happens, but how rarely we actually come across it. One day, I was walking to work in Shibuya. It was a hot summer day, so obviously there were a lot of women wearing skirts and things like that. I am not blaming women for the way they dress. I want to make that very clear right now. People can wear whatever they want, and if I could wear a skirt in summer without making everyone nauseous, I would. While I was walking, I noticed some guy just meandering around. He wasn't walking anywhere with a purpose, and that was the first sign. Then, a young girl wearing a skirt walked over to a map, one of those boards that show you where you are. He casually walks up behind her as if he's looking at the map too. He was holding a plastic bag with a pretty long handle, so it was hovering pretty close to the ground, and I could see there was a camera lens in the bottom of the bag, so I knew what he was doing. It was so obvious. This was all happening in front of me as I was walking towards them. I got closer so I could make sure I knew exactly what was happening. The light changed and she walked away from the map and started to cross the street, but he didn't follow her. So a lot of thoughts crossed my mind. What should I do? Should I tell her? Should I confront him? Should I grab the bag or grab him? He was about 50 years old, kind of stocky, borderline homeless looking. I would classify his style as Osan Otaku. I'm not small. I played American football most of my life and I could take him 100%, so I wasn't worried about that. But I know the area pretty well, and there is a police box about 1 block down the road. I quickly took out my phone and I took a candid picture of him, pretending to be on my phone so he didn't notice. I went straight to the police box as quickly as I could, looking back to see if he was still meandering around, and he was. As I got to the police box, I said, "Please follow me, I'll explain." And the police officer inside just said, "Okay," without any hesitation. Thought he was pretty cool, actually. As we are walking back and I explain, he acknowledges what I'm saying and everything, and he seems to know what to do and what's going on. We get closer to the guy, and he's still there. So the cops confirmed that it was him. I said yes, and I had this idea to act like the police officer was talking to me, like I was in trouble or something, so the guy wouldn't get suspicious or anything, like some real undercover stuff. And I was about to explain my idea to the cop when he just took off in a full sprint towards the neckbeard and grabbed him by the arm. I was kind of shocked, not gonna lie. They walked back to the police box, and I kind of followed them from behind, and he took him inside, and I waited outside. After about a minute or two, the cop comes out. He said, "Thank you very much," and I asked him if he needs me as a witness or something, but he said he just confessed. I asked about the girl, and he said not to worry. They'll take care of it and make sure nothing happens, and only female officers will actually handle any videos or pictures or anything like that. I was satisfied, and I went to work, glad to have done something. Recently, I've been watching a Korean drama called Beyond the Bar, or Esquire in Japan for my Japanese listeners, or Esquire, Byonhosaru kum kunyon byonhosade for my Korean listeners, and I apologize for butchering that pronunciation, but it's getting a bit rusty. And if you haven't watched it, definitely give it a try. It's actually really interesting. It's a good lawyer drama. But there was an episode about bystanders. If you stand around and just watch a crime take place, but don't do anything to report it or stop it, you are also liable to some extent. That made me think about what happened, so I'm glad that I didn't just sit back and watch. You never know what will happen. You know what they say, the butterfly effect. A butterfly flapping its wings on one side of the earth causes a tsunami on the other, something like that. But that was just one guy, and I'm sure there are many, many more out there. So please, girls and boys, be careful. If you get that sense that someone is walking around or near you or just kind of hovering around, please look at their bag or something, and if you see anything suspicious, just cause a scene, scream, yell out something, hentai pervert, whatever it is, and people will come help you. Just make sure you aren't wrong. That would be horrible too. You don't want to falsely accuse someone of doing something if they just have a long bag. Besides physical safety and privacy, which are some of the bigger problems, there is also the concern of theft and pickpockets. This is something that hasn't been an issue in Japan for as long as I've been here, so for me, it isn't a problem at all. But also, I don't go to any touristy places. I have heard a story from someone who had their bag stolen from right under them. She put her bag down for 1 minute to take a picture with a friend while in Asakusa, and literally 10 seconds later, it was gone. I don't even know how it happened, but apparently it was just stolen from right under their noses. I can very confidently say that they were probably targeted because they look like tourists, and who actually stole it? I have no idea, and I'm not going to speculate because it could literally be anyone, so please everyone just be careful. To give a story from the other end of the spectrum, there was one day at the end of the year, and if anyone knows about Japan during that time, that is the Bonenkai season, which is basically when people drink and celebrate to literally forget the year. I was on the train heading towards Shibuya, and there was this guy actually laying down on the seats in front of me, sprawled out and completely passed out, dead to the world. A very typical scene around that time of year. As he was laying there, a fat wad of cash fell out of his pocket. I would say about 500,000 yen minimum. I noticed it, and I was about to get up and wake him up when another guy on the train got up, picked up the money, and tucked it deep into his pockets. While he was doing that, I was watching. Maybe a couple of other people around saw, but no one was really paying attention to the drunk guy. He could have very easily just pocketed that cash or palmed it instead of putting it into his pocket or something, anything, whatever, and no one would have been any wiser. But I am 200% sure that he put the money into his pocket. I saw it, and maybe he was being even more obvious to make sure that no one could accuse him of stealing, but he did. He put it back in the pocket and just sat down. Now, in most other countries, if that same thing happened, that guy would be waking up with money gone, phone gone, clothes gone, shoes gone, suits gone, everything, and underwear stained, and maybe even with a few wounds or knives sticking out if he woke up at all, something. But there is just no way he'd be waking up in the same state that he passed out in. In the States, people have killed others for much less. This kind of thing just is unheard of, but in Japan, it is expected. I've only lost my phone once in Japan, and the next day I went to Yodobashi Camera and I got a new one, but a week later, I got a letter in the mail telling me my phone was at Kuki Station. I think that's somewhere in the middle of Saitama, and that I should come and pick it up. I was shocked, but that was a lesson learned, and I realized that people just want to help others out. I don't know if it was another passenger or train staff or something who found my phone, but someone did, and who it was just doesn't matter. On another occasion, I left my wallet at a convenience store. It was on one of those counters that has a small ledge in front of you that you put your bag on. So literally any other customer could have seen it and could have taken it without anyone ever realizing it wasn't theirs. But guess what? When I went back, my wallet was waiting for me exactly where I had left it. When I first moved to Japan, I lived near a station called Shinkoiwa. And when I tell everyone about that place, all Japanese people recognize it as a very suspicious area and has a big red light district and is also a very well-known common Yakuza area. I literally had no idea that any of that was true the whole time I was living there, and only found out afterwards that it was such a sketchy place. And I had walked around the station a lot, and never once had I ever felt that. Not even at night when I was walking around after work or something. Also, I walk through Shibuya every single night. Probably one of, if not the busiest intersections in the entire world. Let's look at a weekend. There have been a lot of research and studies about the intersection. There are usually about 2,500 people crossing through that intersection during one light change. In a whole day, over 3 million people use that intersection. 3 million. That is 300,000 people in one day. The whole population of Uruguay is 3.4 million. So imagine a whole country walking through one intersection in a single day, yet nothing happens. For as long as I've been in Japan, I have never heard of any kind of problem or incident or safety concern about that intersection. Statistically, it should be one of the hottest of the hotspots in the world, right? But nope, it's just busy as hell. As a side note, if you are coming to visit Shibuya and you want to take a picture or a video or a TikTok in that intersection, you aren't the only people there, and it isn't your play space to do as you please. If you're going to do a stupid cartwheel or something in the middle of it, you had better be careful. I saw someone trying to do just that, a cartwheel through it, and she kicked a young girl crossing the street right in the head. The person apologized to the girl, but being Japanese, she just said it's okay and walked away. But I guarantee you she walked away with a concussion. That was a hard kick, and she looked bad afterwards. So come on, guys, check yourselves, okay? From my experiences and others I've talked to in Japan, it is a very safe place. You can walk around the streets at night. You will see elementary school students taking the train by themselves. You will see drunken people passed out without a care in the world. But you do need to be careful, as with any other country in the world, because just being a tourist makes you a target. Especially if you go to any tourist hotspots like Asakusa or Dotonbori or something. But if you do live here, honestly, I don't think you have anything to really worry about, which you probably already know. But if you do live in Japan, the safety is something that I think we take for granted. So when we visit other countries, you definitely need to be a lot more careful. Don't just put your wallet on the table to hold your seat or something like that, because I promise you, it's going to be gone when you come back. Thank you so much for staying with me for another episode of the Stereotypically Japan podcast. I really appreciate each and every one of you for coming every week and tuning in. Next week, I want to discuss xenophobia and how people really feel about foreigners in Japan. I'm going to start adding some different kinds of episodes to the podcast as well. I want to start doing some video content, so I'm going to be uploading some things to YouTube. It's going to be more of the one-on-one discussions with other people. I'll try to also upload the audio to Spotify and Apple Music, wherever that you guys listen to it is as well. But if you do check out the video, that'd be really cool too. So I appreciate that and something you guys can look forward to. As always, if you can, please leave a like or a review, share it with friends or family. It all really helps the podcast a lot, and I really appreciate it. If you want to reach out, please send me an email or contact me on all socials. The links will be in the description. So until next time, please take care of me, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Jane.